And hello everyone, welcome to Punchstarter. And why is it Punchstarter? Because as I've mentioned in the past, a punch is better than a kick. This is where these guys pitch me their idea based on the topic I've come up with for the month, and they've had all month to work on it. And this month is TV shows based on a board game. And the rules are you can't just remake an existing show or movie or something like that. It has to be something new. And it must have started as a board game. And are you okay, Pew?
Oh, I'm good. I was
Oh,
just writing these down so I don't forget.
Oh, okay. I kept hearing loud noises, but my bad.
Oh, it's just the paper turning.
I wasn't sure if you were using microphone or external, but
I'm using my
Hangout
headset.
swaps. Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, like I said, TV show based on a board game. Those were the rules of you can't just remake existing stuff, and it has to start as a board game. So yeah, joining us for this one is James Phoenix.
Hello.
Marcus Shadow.
Sup?
And as you heard, Anastasia Lazerbeam.
Hey.
And so kicking us off first is the possibly most important category, and that is the story of your show. And obviously, feel free to mention the name of the board game itself when you do this, but taking us away first will be Marcus.
Alright, so I went with a board game called Arkham Horror. Don't know if you guys have heard of it. Now, I did do a copy and paste of the first paragraph of the Wikipedia article because it does the overview of how the game works and the plot of it, and it kind of wrote itself.
It should be prefaced that this Arkham has nothing to do with Batman.
No, it doesn't. But it kind of wrote itself. Like, as soon as I read that first paragraph, I was like, yes, I'm taking this because that would make an awesome TV show. So here's how it works. The game board is made up of locations in Lovecraft's, yes, that's H.P. Lovecraft, fictional city of Arkham during 1926. Street, building, and outdoor locations are featured, as well as otherworldly locations that investigators can venture into. Players each have an investigator represented by a character card, several attributes, and cards representing items, spells, and other things. As gameplay progresses, gates to these other worlds open and are represented by tokens on the board. Monsters from the other worlds enter through the gates and wander the city. The investigators travel through the city, avoiding or fighting the monsters, visiting city locations to acquire tools, and ultimately entering the gates themselves. After traveling through the other world and returning, the investigator can try to close the gate. While exploring city locations or other worlds, the investigators face random challenges and benefits. As gates open, a doom track advances. If it reaches the end, a powerful, horrific creature known as the Ancient One breaks through into Arkham. In the 1987 edition of the game, this ends the game and failure for players. In the 2005 edition, this, in most cases, begins an endgame which the players have a small chance to defeat the creature and win. Otherwise, they lose. So I figured that would make a great backdrop for a TV show. I wasn't quite sure whether it would work better as a 1926 Lovecraftian or if it would be better to take the Lovecraftian feel and kind of look and stuff and then modernize it, putting it into a more modern time. But I figure, you have maybe say you start with two main protagonists, two investigators, and they're investigating these rifts and stuff, and they're going around finding clues, solving crimes, and eventually acquiring magic and other mythical weaponry type things, and have to go into these portals, fight monsters and whatnot, eventually fighting the Ancient One. Now, using Arkham Horror actually gives them, the creators, a way to almost not run out of ideas, because Arkham Horror also has 8 expansions, which provides many directions for the show to go for many, many years to come, including, more and different spells, equipment, investigator classes, monsters, even other locations. Some of the expansions go to other locations. So you have a big expansive world to just mess around with. Also in the game, if a player's investigator dies, I'm not sure which version of the game this was in, but if an investigator dies, the player would be able to create a new investigator to continue until the game ends. Which would be either the Ancient One completely takes over and kills everyone, or the players kill the Ancient One. And so I figured the TV show creators could use that mechanic as a way of keeping the show fresh and also allowing actors and actresses who maybe have run their course on the show, maybe wanted to leave, allow them to leave by like writing the characters off or otherwise killing them and having new investigators come in to take their place.
Yeah,
Kind of like a
basically,
CSI style.
I was thinking the Doctor Who loophole.
Or that too, yeah. Well, but it's not the same investigator, it's just a new investigator, but yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same thing with it's one main guy, and then if he gets written off or dies or something like that, they always bring down a new regeneration.
True.
Which does work. Which does work. It does work so that you can, like, the actor can, if the main actor decides, oh, I want to leave, or oh, I want this amount of money, you can just go with someone else. That totally works. Right. That's what I'm saying. That mechanic does help shows.
Yeah. So I was thinking like this show could be something along the lines of like almost like a maybe like a CSI or I don't know, like a good crime thriller meets like Constantine kind of. I think it'd be kind of cool. Because you'd have the supernatural element and magic element, but you'd also have, especially if you decided to modernize it, you could also bring in elements of science because these investigators, while, maybe are into the occult a little bit, know spells and whatnot, obviously they get supernatural abilities. But first and foremost, they are investigators, and especially if they're modern investigators, they would also be into like the science of investigation. Like you could have one of the investigators be like a complete science guy who has to kind of get into the occult side of it once he sees like all this shit's happening and stuff. I think if you could create some cool dynamics by just playing with the setting of this story and and how modern you want to make it or whether you want to make it modern, and then just taking the elements of the story crafted by the creators of the game and by Lovecraft himself, you could create some really interesting dynamics, and I think it'd be awesome to see on TV.
Yep, I will say that was pretty good, and I will say for anyone listening, before anyone nitpicks it or anything like that, I will allow this because I know Lovecraft didn't start as a game; it started in novels and books and stuff. However, the creators of this game just took that setting and made it something completely different. So, yeah, I will allow that. It's not like, oh, we're doing, say, Walking Dead Monopoly, and the show's called Walking Dead.
No, all they basically did is they took a city created by Lovecraft and created a game around that city. That's basically what they did.
Yeah, which that's fair enough. I like that. It has a lot of prospects. And for the next one for story, take us away, Anastasia Lazerbeam.
All right. So, okay. Basically, this one here, I'm thinking of, it's based on Chutes and Ladders.
Okay.
The board game. And basically, you're in this world where there is like kind of like fairy godparents that help out like the unfortunate kids and stuff. I'm gonna say there's magical little help. It's not like each one gets assigned, but they occasionally help out like kids who need it. But lately, there's been no one who really needs it because the kids, and not even just kids, but just everybody in the town has been so selfish that they actually decide to take revenge on the whole town and transform them to a multi-level maze where some of the other towns are hostage, and they're going to have to solve puzzles and make a lot of moral decisions. Do they want to help the people who usually they're so angry and selfish about in their own ways and maybe possibly find a way out, or maybe take a selfish route and actually end up getting farther trapped in the maze? Basically they have to, just find a way to come to harmony with everybody else that they've always been rude and selfish to and get out of the maze alive and save everybody.
Nice. Did you say this was like a normal style TV show or a game show or?
Oh, this is not a game show. It's kind of like a thriller because people are like, imagine like Amnesia: Descent into Darkness, where you're like going down a path and you always like try to figure shit out and puzzles, and sometimes, or in the Trials of Justinia, you have to make a bunch of moral choices, kind of like that.
Oh yeah, I could see it as a normal show as well. The only reason I said game show as well is it sounded similar to the game show over here called Ever After.
Oh, I don't know what that is.
It's like a multi-level thing where kids go up and then they meet like fairy tale characters or something that have all been corrupted, and if the kids fail, they go down and trapped forever after, and stuff like that. It's actually oddly fun, but I could see it either way, if that makes sense. So that still sounds cool.
Yeah.
I like it. I liked what you had.
It sounds like 999 the series.
I don't know what that is, but I'm thinking like, occasionally you'll have to meet like all like the fairies who used to be really pretty, and I'm using fairies. It could be any like a magical creature, but like gremlins or whatever. But as they like make more and more wrong choices, they could get like uglier and meaner and scarier.
I love how committed you are to your own story of it's fairies. Nah, it could be anything. It could be goblins.
No, I mean
or something.
like I'm just saying like because I don't know like I'm thinking more fairies, but I'm just saying physically they could be representative of like other like creatures.
Fair enough.
Because I'm not sure if I want them blocked to be fairies or maybe if they could be like other magical creatures.
Fair enough. And I will say next up, James Phoenix.
All right. Okay. So I give this a thought. Originally, I was going to adapt a clue for this, but I realized if I tried to do it, it would end up probably being too much like other versions. It's kind of been done. So I started thinking about it, and I happened to randomly come up with this idea that I think is a cool idea. I'm trying to think how you would describe this show. It's kind of like a I don't know. I guess.
What was the game?
Well, I'm gonna. Actually, interestingly, now that I think about this, it's almost got a minus the ridiculous super intelligences. It bears a similarity to Person of Interest. Now that I think about it, I didn't really think about that before. But the show is called The Monopoly.
Fuck you if you're doing it on Monopoly, because I have one also about Monopoly, but it'll probably be different. So continue.
But you do not have one based on Monopoly. You have Chutes and Ladders.
I did, but I also had another idea that I think you stole in my brain.
How did I steal it in your brain? What am I, Mr. Gold? I'm gonna rip shit out of your mind? What the hell?
Yes, you did. Because that was the one I was gonna go with if I wasn't gonna go with this one. But it's cool.
No, I know where Jim's going with this. He's got a show called The Monopoly, and it's like a reality TV show where people go in there and try to make more money, and eventually some guy dressed like Mr. Monopoly, probably played by Donald Trump, will tell them they're fired.
Mine was about like classism and racism, because like people on one side of the board, fight with other people on the side of the board because like how poor neighborhoods and rich neighborhoods, because all the sides of Monopoly are worth more. But it's cool.
Not quite. Some basic undertones are similar, but not quite. But the premise of my show is a Monopoly, and it takes place in insert name of city here. I hadn't really named the city, but in the city, and basically Monopolis. No, but the premise is that the city is one day basically this really really rich billionaire who is the Mr. Monopoly insert character. I think it should be played by Alan Dale. Maybe that's just me. Does anybody know who Alan Dale is?
Yes.
You actually know who that is. Okay, good. Just want to make sure you knew who that was. Anyway, do you agree? Can you see him being Mr. Monopoly?
Depending on what you've done with Mr. Monopoly, yes.
Yeah. Well, the idea of Mr. Monopoly is not no monocle on top hat, but basically, he'll have a real name. He'll just be kind of analogous to it. Like maybe at one point he'll wear a top hat, so just to show like, oh, why this is who this is. But basically, he is this really rich billionaire, and for some reason, he has decided he wants to own this city. Nobody really knows why. I'd imagine he has some kind of Scooby-Doo villain motivations, like there's oil under the city, or he wants to tear it down and build something, or whatever the hell it might be. I haven't decided yet, but he wants to own the city. And basically, he has like the mayor and like most of the city government on his payroll, and he's working with other wealthy business owners who he agrees to give a cut of whatever it is that he's doing once the city is fully under his control. And the people of the city are basically being taxed, and their rent is high, and they're basically being treated like shit. And so, most of what's going on with the ownership of the, basically property ownership is being taken out from under these people, but they can't do anything about it because it's all being hidden under, on the surface, legal means, even though they all know it's not legal. But when they try to go to outside authorities outside of the city, they say, well, without proof, we can't really do anything because it's, the city government says everything's running fine, and these are like wealthy, important dudes. We're not exactly going to screw with them without evidence. So some of the people of the city, random people in the city, just a random group of people, whoever they might be, I basically I give them all careers based on the Monopoly pieces because I thought that was funny. I got a dog walker, a retired naval officer, a mechanic, a clothing shoe store employee, so on and so forth.
I was about to ask, because I will say I loved that with the PS3 game Monopoly Streets, where you weren't just a race car, you were obnoxious Deuce who's a race car driver instead of the car and stuff. And I was like, that's kind of wonderful.
Is there a guy who owns a hat shop?
No, I had a guy who not really. I had a guy who works at like a clothing shoe store that would kind of include the boot and the hat.
Oh, that's lame. The guy should have been like a runner, and the other person should have been like own a head shop. But that's cool.
I can do a truck ride, but anyway.
You don't run in boots.
That's true.
You
But anyway, so these random people who are just ordinary people are trying to be treated like shit. And one day, throughout the course, in one of the opening episodes, they all happen to meet each other in a local bar called the Community Chest, and they all decide, you know what, fuck this, let's do something about this. And so they basically start using whatever resources they can manage to gather. They basically by night they start trying to find ways to circumvent this problem and to start taking back property and doing whatever they can do to stop this corrupt asshole who's trying to take their city. And I figured there'd be like whatever missions they were going on. They're trying to break into somewhere, like maybe they're trying to break into places and find deeds, or they're trying to prove find documents to prove this or that or whatever it might be. And so they go on, each episode is they're trying to, find some kind of documentation, or the story's pursuing like, oh, they did this, so now they're going to do this. And basically following their efforts as they try to undermine the city government and these rich guys with very little resources at their disposal and kind of take back the city as best they can. They'd have some allies. The only ally I would come up with was a woman I called Madam Chance. I don't know if she'd be like the owner of the Community Chest or just this mysterious woman that lives in the city that wants to help them. I hadn't really thought that out, but I thought that was a cool name. So that was kind of the premise. It's basically sort of a modern city subterfuge type thing, like Person of Interest, where the government is after them, and the government's after they have real identities that they have to live, but then by night they're trying to go against the government and this rich guy and this organization, and trying to save, in that case, save the world. In this case, it's just save the city.
Can I make a suggestion?
You may open the
Madam Chance.
Yes.
Could she not be a prostitute with really big boobs that people jokingly refer to as the Community Chest?
No. Good try.
At least think about it.
No, I won't.
Is it wrong that I just came up with an idea that could be cool if you don't mind putting a little bit of mysticism into your show?
Oh, you're your damn mysticism.
I was thinking, what if there's this relic in the town center called the Community Chest, and when the city is threatened and the guy takes over, all of a sudden it just kind of activates out of nowhere, and just randomly it seems like the Community Chest starts to kind of help the people, so it's like the city itself is fighting back.
That's a cool concept too. I'll, for the purpose of most judging, I'll stick with what I had, just for the sake of evil judging. But that is a good idea too. I do like that. That is kind of cool. I was trying to keep it realistic. Like, this is a real city. It's the real world. There's they're basically literally. It's basically about sort of like Stacey mentioned. Like these lower class people are trying to fight back against the corrupt government and these upper class assholes. So there is some classism in there. So it does have that aspect. And that was kind of what I was going for.
Fair enough. It's still a cool concept, I think.
Yeah, and I do have a good idea of the mysticism. That's kind of a clever idea, but I like the, because that was like a way too obvious Community Chest. I think it was cool that it just happened to be the name of the location where they all met and then served as their headquarters. I thought that was kind of clever.
That could work too. Sure.
Yeah, that was kind of what it's a bar called the Community Chest. Originally I said, well, maybe Madam Chance owns that, and then she kind of covers for them when they're having secret meetings, and she has like a network of informants and resources in the city because she's part of the underground, whatever. So she's helping them out and stuff like that, maybe. Yeah. And I also figured that to help them get information and things later, to match the actual Monopoly theme, they'd be later joined by a guy who's a cat burglar, because they added a cat piece later. And basically, the cat burglar would join them because it's getting to the point where most people don't have anything for him to steal anymore because they're all being taxed and losing their shit. He's like, okay, at this point, even I need to help you.
At this point, the only person left to steal from is the guy running the city, so yeah, I guess I'm going to help you guys.
Well, that wasn't. It's not just him. Like I said, he's partnered with some assorted asshole business owners that would kind of serve as, I don't know how to describe them. If it were a video game, they'd be like lower level bosses. But basically, there's some guys that they're gonna fight on their way up to get to the big boss. Because at first they're not really gonna know who the big boss is. He's just described as insert name asshole billionaire, and they're not gonna really know who he is or what he looks like or anything. And inevitably, like at the end of season 1, I figure they'll finally meet him and wherever in his big building, wherever he's hiding, and he'll like spin around in a big chair and. Maybe for that moment he'll have like a top hat and a monocle on, and then he'll take it off. Like this is really too old school for me, and then just kind of do his thing.
And
That rich asshole in Park Place and Boardwalk.
Exactly, like either the Park Place apartment or something, some shit.
I was going to say, Pew, would you be able to mute if you're moving items or what the hell you're doing?
I'm not, but my cat was knocking shit over.
Because it kept when Jim was speaking,
Sorry.
it kept drowning him out and cutting him off.
Sorry.
Mute your cat.
I'll try to mute my cat.
But yes, that was my story.
Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Nice. And I will say, thinking about all the stories and where they could go and stuff like that, I'm going to give the point for this round to Jeff.
Woo.
Marcus.
Yay!
That's right, you chant his name for winning.
Yeah, I
Yes.
agree.
Yes. Yes.
But now, which is an
Shoulder
interesting...
snaps.
But now for an interesting category, which Jim kind of covered already, so I will go with him first. This is integration of brand. And what I mean by that is certain stuff, like for example, if you're doing Cluedo, you could do like or Clue for the Americans. If you're doing Cluedo, you could easily do a detective show, but how are you working in all the little items, or what items are you working in, and what nods to the actual to the franchise as a whole are you doing, and stuff like that. So take us away, Jim.
Okay. Well, I kind of covered this a little bit. All the group of about 6 random heroes and a 7th who the Capricorn joins later are based on the primarily used Monopoly pieces. Obviously, certain special editions and certain editions in countries have specialty pieces, and maybe a couple of them could be introduced here and there. But mostly it's just the main 6 playing pieces. Well, it's actually more than that, when I combined a few of the pieces. So you'd have the dog walker represents the dog, a retired naval officer representing the battleship, a mechanic representing the car, a clothing and shoe store employee to represent the boots and the hats, a tailor dry cleaner kind of represents both, kind of represents the iron. You'd have a gardener represented by the wheelbarrow, and the tailor dry cleaner was the iron and the thimble. And the gardener represented the wheelbarrow, and then later the cat burglar represented by the cat. And they're representing the playing pieces as the players trying to take the property and trying to overcome the monopoly that's been established by this rich ass.
No. Did we lose Jim?
I think we lost Jim temporarily.
Wonderful.
Jim?
I'm wondering if he plugged in after playing with you or not. I'm guessing he probably didn't.
I'll try reaching him on the Hangout, but... Oh, well, not on the Hangout, on Skype, but... Sorry for the technical issues for people listening, but okay. Integration of brand... Unless I think Jim's back. Okay, no. Okay, take us away, Pew.
Alright. So I imagine in the labyrinth that the people and children go to, when they get to a certain, I guess, impasse where they have to meet a person from their village that they may or may not have grievances with, and they meet up with the fairy, they will have to make a choice. And if they choose correctly and go along the moral path, there will be a button that the fairy chooses and clicks, and it'll be a ladder sign, and then the ladder will come down. But if you made the wrong choice, you'll drop, like the floor will go whoosh, and you'll slide down whoosh, like that. And you pretty much have like either green light, red light, except with ladder symbol, slide symbol, and you'll know which choice you did wrong and stuff. So I think that could be like a big brand, like which side will you choose? Where will you end up?
Nice. And can I just say, your show would be so much more better if it was based on the UK version.
I'd be okay with this.
No, I was joking. You don't have to
Oh.
do that. Our game is exactly the same as yours, only they're not shoots.
Well, I just imagine the imagery of just like, either a ladder drops in front of you, or because you have to stand in this one little area, and you're like, what's gonna happen to me? Am I gonna fall? Or is something gonna come out? Something's gonna happen.
I know. I was just saying that, like, on the American one, it shoots and ladders. In the UK one, instead of it being shoots, they're giant snakes. It's called Snakes and Ladders.
That's funny.
I just thought it was a fun
my
little
God.
fact.
Freaking snake strap on you or something. Oh my god, that'd fucking suck.
And now you see why I'm like, yeah, that'd be so much better. Like, oh, you've lost. You have to slide down a giant snake. No.
Oh, you slide down a giant snake? I thought like snakes fall on you or something.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
But
Why
that was
did it
pretty
have
cool.
to be snakes?
You could
Yep.
be miss and like fall off the snake and just die.
Yeah. Snake way. No. Basically. Thank you. But no, like I said, that was pretty cool, Pew. And I will say, I believe. I thought James had come back.
I think he's having internet difficulties, more than likely.
Yep. Okay, then over to Marcus. By default.
Fair enough. I'm going to say I haven't actually played Arkham Horror. I've seen some things about it, but the way I've designed the story and everything, most of the stuff in the story would have been taken, for the most part, directly from the game. Like most of what the investigators use, I imagine, a lot of the equipment they would use would come from the game, or it would be like adapted versions of it. So you get that from the game. Obviously, the look, the location, obviously Arkham being Lovecraft's Arkham. There's the city and the location, and the other locations that they could possibly use would come from the game and expansions. I was also thinking how the investigators operate, the kind of abilities they have and what they do and stuff. A lot of that would come from like the character cards of the game. So the caricatures would be kind of true to the game. Obviously slightly tweaked, and especially if you modernize it, there's going to have to be some modifications and tweaks just to modernize it out of 1926. So obviously it's not going to be uber faithful, but like I figured a lot of the stuff would come from the monsters, for instance, that you would have to fight, or that not you, but that the investigators would fight. I would imagine a lot of that would come from the game, and then of course they would expand from that. They would take from what the game has established and then say, okay, we need maybe more varied monsters. What can we do to make, what kind of monster can we make that's going to look and feel like it should be part of this game and take inspiration from what came from the game? So, there'll be a lot of heavy inspiration just because of how detailed this game is and how involved everything is with the game in terms of like the players and like the board master or whatever. There's a lot of inspiration they can take from it. And so I see a heavy brand influence on this TV show.
There we go. I'm sorry. I was saying, yeah, that sounds pretty good. I was just checking to see if Jim was there, and that does sound pretty good. And I believe since Jim's come back, he'll be able to continue with what he was saying.
Hopefully he's back.
Or not.
Or not. He's not in the call or in the hangout.
Yeah, I know. He popped in when you were speaking at the end, and he just popped back out as the little square at the bottom.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, your one does sound pretty cool. It does sound like it's got cool ideas for now, if that makes sense. It'd be cool to see where they go. And I believe we got James back.
I see.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us, James?
It's probably still loading in for him.
It might be.
Jim. I guess he's not loaded in quite yet. Live technical difficulties.
Yep.
And there he goes again. Yeah, he's having problems.
Yeah, I just spoke to him, and he says nope, he's having no luck. I don't know what we're gonna do. He says it goes into the call for a minute or two, then it gives me the message every time about. Okay, I think I know what the issue is here. Which, did you guys want to comment on each other's integration while I'm trying to help Jim?
We could. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what the heck your show is, Stace.
It's basically like if the fairies, Fairly Odd Parents, like, because there's no more good children to help, they pretty much decided to make a labyrinth and pretty much kidnap everybody from the town and put like a few of them as hostages, and a few of them have to go through and save all the other ones. But everybody hates everybody in this town because they're all just selfish and evil. So they could use like the selfish choices, which will make them, inadvertently go like down farther into the labyrinth. But if they decide to help the people that normally they like hate, they'd have a ladder to slowly get them out of the labyrinth, prove to the fairies that they actually deserve magic and deserve they're actually not nearly as selfish as everyone thinks, and they'll save their like town and make the fairies nicer and be able to save everybody,
So basically, it'd be an ongoing board game. Essentially, the series would not end until, or basically, they would not save anybody until the creators decided it was time for the series finale. Is what you're saying?
I guess so. Yeah.
That could be interesting.
And you could have someone like pretty much save almost everyone, but then make a horrible like decision at the end in which they could work themselves back up again because they fucked up so bad.
Oh, that twist. Yeah, that could work too.
Yeah, and I'm saying like, what if you like save everyone, but then there's that one guy who slept with your wife, like because you saved everybody and they're coming along with you, and maybe one of the other people like has to make a choice now. And you really hate that fucking asshole, and then, you say, no, I don't want to save him, kill him, okay? Or whatever. He'll send the whole group back down, and they have to work their way back up.
Yep, that'd be cool. And for people, I think, hang on. Do we have James back? Hopefully it worked. I'm not sure. The problem he mentioned he was having was, it was the error I've had before now where it says you can't enter due to video error or whatever it was, and it also keeps telling him his microphone doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. That's weird.
It is. Hopefully it allows him back, because otherwise we can't end this call.
Oh, yeah, because he's the host, huh?
Yep.
Well, theoretically, wouldn't we be able to end it if one of us logged out and then logged back in as the X-Pound?
Could do. I'll tell you what. Did you want to log in quickly as the X-Pound, and I'll communicate to Jim to try his other account to see if that helps?
Oh, yeah, I could do that, sure.
Okay.
Hanging up.
But yeah, like I said, so far your show sounds pretty interesting, Pew.
Thank you.
And I was interested to see what games everyone came up with, because there's a lot of decent board games out there. Like, you could make a whole game of Trivial Pursuit just by doing a board game, or just by doing a game show of questions and answers. There's like you could do a detective series based on Clue. You could do a series like Power Rangers about Connect Four, about the four saviors of the world, all who happen to dress in red. That would be ridiculous, but you could try that.
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, but like I said, for people listening, like I said, we're experiencing some technical difficulties trying to get Jim back into the call. It's not his fault. It's more Google is just constantly being a pain to people all the time. If this keeps happening, I don't know what I'll do. I might just end it. If it keeps happening, I might just end it prematurely soon and go to and then do part 2 in like another day when we can get Jim back on Skype. Or I could just say it's a shame and just continue without him with the two.
I would say, yeah, if he can't go on, just continue without him.
Mm-hmm. But that is a loud cat. But yeah. Like I said, yeah, some board game differences are fun, like I mentioned to you in the UK, US. Like, you guys have Clue, we have Cluedo, so it sounds more like a unique experience. You guys have chutes and ladders, we have snakes and ladders. And I'm
You
just
sound more
like,
terrifying.
and I'm like, that's kind of fun. I'm like, oh, you go up the snake, you go up the ladder, oh, down the snake. I have no idea. I have no idea why down the snake sounds fun, but still, it used to be, oh, down the snake.
That is fucking terrifying.
Why? It's just a giant snake big enough for a human to slide down.
Yeah, I'd rather kill myself.
And since when you slide down the snake, you always at the spot at the bottom where the chute is. Logically, you're always right by his face.
Yeah, I'm still like,
If I was real life, if I was real life, I'd be like, no, take your go so I can move. Yay, and we have an X pound.
What's up?
Yay, we have Marcus.
I have control.
Yay. Which means, okay, since we're still unable to get Jim back, I can always come back to him. I will move on. Oh, hang on. Do we have James? I hear him. Yay, it worked. Yay, we have a James Phoenix. Okay, James, would you like to continue with your integration of brand?
Yes. Like I said, I used the Mr. Monopoly character to be the villain, and I played all of the individual main characters in this group representing the player pieces, tying in the community chest as the location that's their headquarters where they all meet, and Chance as a mysterious woman who helps them, who's I haven't totally thought out her origin, but as a mysterious woman who helps them out through various means. I figured that at least probably not all, because it's not going to straight up be Atlantic City, which the game is based on, but at least some of the street names will be referenced throughout the course of the show as being in the city here and there. Things like that. Maybe have a police officer named after the police officer that's on the board, like he's one of the corrupt police officers. That can be kind of cool. Stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will say the winner of that round, I'm going to give it to James.
Boom.
Yay!
And you'll get that with some rounds as well. Like I feel that round really fucking benefited Jim, as he has loads of stuff he can integrate an Easter egg, whereas Pew has a ladder and a chute. whereas Marcus's, if he didn't include all the monsters and stuff like that, it wouldn't feel like the game. So it's like he kind of has to. Whereas Jim's, I'm more like, oh, that's a subtle little reference. So it's like sometimes on this show you will get that where some categories benefit other people more than others.
True.
But the next one, which I will go with Pew first for this one, the next category is, what is your target audience and how do you plan to attract them to your brand?
My target audience. My target audience would probably be
Horses?
I want to say like 12 and older. But I'm kind of want to stick to, it might be a little too dark for them. Maybe like
Actually, I'd say 12 or so would work as well.
Okay.
'Cause that's like the Age of Anubis audience, which is a similar type of show. If that makes not like the same story or anything, but I mean it's similar in terms of theme and stuff. Available now on Nickelodeon.
I think the way to target them.
Nickelodeon.
Yeah. I think the way to target them would be first, like the first original 4 or 5 people, because everybody else is locked up, will be the starting cast around the same age until, they unlock it, and then like the crew will get larger. But yeah, so we have those 4 teenagers, probably 2 males, 2 females, to break it up. And pretty much, I think they could really get in on like the whole mystery and just very simple like icons, like I think then this is just me like merchandising where such simple symbols can be like the next big thing to wear. It's like, ooh, what's gonna happen this week? I don't know. What do you think's gonna happen this week? There'll be blogs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like vote in what you think. Will you be right? Like things like that.
My prediction is next week they will either go up a ladder or down a chute.
Yeah, but like, will somebody make the decision? Will somebody go against everybody? Will it be universal?
I'm kidding. If yours isn't just chutes and ladders, the way you've done it, it's more like a telltale style story of different
Yeah, it's
choices
kind of like
that aren't just up a ladder or down a chute.
yeah, it's kind of like drama. Because what if like three people want to do one thing, and one person didn't want to go anything? What if they like what happens if one time like they're all standing on the platter, but then someone selfishly, hangs back and pushes this other person to make sure they go down or shakes them off, and they get separated or, things like that.
I could see that.
It could just be like you never know what's going to happen the next time, and it could be like a little community around it. A lot of talking with the people who made it, like on interwebs or maybe after the show, like a little 5-minute clip or something.
Nice. Okay, same question to Marcus.
All right. Well, target audience for this, obviously, one of the huge target audiences would be the fans of the game and fans of H.P. Lovecraft. I mean, obviously, the fan base for this particular property is huge, considering they had 8 expansions across 20 years. So yeah, there's a huge fan base for this. But in terms of age demographic, I would probably say
I don't technically just mean age demographic. When I say your target audience, it could also be like what network you're happening to go for. Like, let's face facts, there's a large difference between, say, like both of them had vampires in it. There's a huge difference between the Vampire Diaries on CW and True Blood on HBO. Because the Vampire Diaries one's all about the story and the characters and the relationships, whereas HBO is all about the sex and the gore and the blood.
Right. Well,
I preferred the first one.
True. But well, what I had actually is the studio that would be producing this. I had Warner Brothers, and the
Nice.
network that it would be airing, I had NBC Universal.
Nice.
So it'd be more of a primetime show. So I'm thinking probably like 13 plus ish. Because I don't really see there being like any like swearing or anything. I mean, there'd be the standard stuff of an occasional damn or hell or something like that, but nothing that would make it like rated R or anything. And in terms of blood and gore, unless the censors are really picky about demon blood, I don't see much happening. I mean, yeah, you're going to get injured investigators, and then, when people want off the show, yeah, you might get a killed investigator here and there, and maybe some demons maiming people, but for the most part, I mean, it's all kind of like an occult, almost horror show, so that's kind of what you expect. It's, that's why I said maybe 13 just for, like, the blood, but for the most part, it's more of, like, an occult investigation drama. Is kind of what I'm going for.
And I could see that.
So yeah, that'd be my target audience. Like I said, the big target audience would be the fans of the game and the IP.
Yep. I will also say, I think, did you say which channel did you say it was? Wasn't it NBC?
Yep.
I have to say that's really fucking ironic.
Why?
It's a supernatural investigation show on the same network that just cancelled Constantine.
Oh, did they? I didn't know they did that.
Irony.
Yeah, they just cancelled. They just cancelled Constantine, and the makers of the show are shipping it around to other networks to see if it can be picked up, and they're hoping it can be. But yeah, they recently cancelled their supernatural investigation show, which. That doesn't hurt what you said. It's just kind of a ironic coincidence. If you made a show similar to Constantine, and then you put on the same network as Constantine, which just cancelled Constantine.
Fuck. Okay. Well, my second choice was going to be FX.
No, like I said, it doesn't affect what you said. I can understand. You went for that channel, which is a good channel. I was just saying it's a little ironic.
Yeah.
So then it'd be the same question to James.
Alrighty. Well, my show will probably be on CBS. I just feel like it's that kind of a show where it's one of those like serious real life shows. Nothing supernatural going on with it. Really nothing, It's just here's the real world. Here's some shit that's going on. And in this case, I think it works. The target audience is adults. Number one, kids hate Monopoly for the most part.
No, they don't.
I was a kid and I loved Monopoly.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. I was gonna make the case. No, they don't, because they do kid versions of Monopoly and stuff like that. We have one where you get to click the board together and build up the skyscrapers. My nephew and niece fucking love it.
Yes, Monopoly Junior is fine, but I mean regular Monopoly.
They also played the Pokemon Monopoly.
I, as a kid, owned so many Monopolies. So, like...
Fair enough. How much did you play, and how many times did you actually finish a game?
At least, like, probably 15, and how many times did I win? Or no, how many times did I finish them? All of them, because I always made sure to finish every one, and I won most of them.
Well, you're in the rarity.
Yeah, I also used to play Monopoly a lot, and we always used to finish.
Yeah, me too. That used to be family game night. I mean, it's Monopoly. That's how I got into it, actually.
I need to buy PS4 Monopoly so we can play.
Yes, you do.
Yep, we all still have that.
Anyway, what I was going to say is, the thing is, it's generally known that, families play Monopoly, but not a lot of kids like Monopoly as a game in general, because it is to kids, it can be a very boring game. It's a lot about money and business and stuff that kids don't generally give that much of a crap about. So, I feel like it's generally more of an adult-oriented game, and plus, it's going to be an adult-oriented show. It's, hey, there's bad people that are in charge. The government says they're good people. There's people that are trying to fight their way up. It's going to be an adult show. There's going to be guns and shooting. There's going to be breaking into places and committing crimes. There's going to be evil people trying to throw people in jail. It's going to be an adult show. There's going to be swearing. It's going to be an adult show. So, technically, it's going to be a regular adult audience. Everything 18 to whatever. Standard adult audience. And I feel like audiences will appreciate it more because they'll get a little more of the references to the game and whatnot. And again, because I think adults enjoy the game more because the problem is a lot of people. There's so many people in the world that talk about they don't like Monopoly because nobody ever finishes it. And I feel like this could help re-foster people a love of Monopoly. And by using elements of the show, you can actually inspire them to play by the right rules. Because that's why most people that don't like Monopoly don't like it because they don't bother to actually read the rules. And so, as a result, they play by what they think are the right rules because they were taught that and they're not. That's why Monopoly is so screwed up in the first place, because most people invented house rules for kids, because the problem is when you put kids in a game and there's an auction involved and kids lose auction, they start screaming and crying because kids. So that's one of the reasons why house rules were invented, but that's a whole other story. But yeah, I feel like it's going to be an adult audience, it's going to be an adult show, it's going to be, there's going to be adult stuff, shooting, swearing, probably sex a little bit, probably violence. There's the usual stuff that you'd see in an adult show on CBS. Nothing like, not Game of Thrones HBO level, but enough that it's going to be an adult show.
Drugs, sex, violence, and rich people. Is this GTA the series?
No, it's the Kardashians.
Oh! Well, given what recently happened, yeah, that's pretty fucking accurate.
Yep, I like to keep things topical, but no. Mavis, no. That's not topical at all. But no, for this round, I'm going to give it to Anastasia.
Yay!
Because I liked what everyone had, but I thought out of all of them, she had she knew exactly what her target audience was, sort of. I knew how to hone in on them and how to make characters that would relate to them and stuff like that, which a lot of shows do. So she did pretty good on that one.
Yay!
Which means, so far, in case you're wondering, ironically, you all have a point.
Woo! How many more categories are there?
2.
Ooh.
To make sure there could only be a winner. There couldn't be a tie.
There could still be a tie.
Yeah, there could be a 2-person tie for winner because if one person doesn't get both of the next points, there's going to be a tie. There's going to be a loser, but there's going to be a tie for winner.
That is also true. I hadn't thought about that, but still, The next category, which take us away first, James, will be tie-ins. Because you know how TV shows always have some sort of tie-in product related to them? Tie-ins.
Huh. You mean besides the game?
Well, the game wouldn't count as a tie-in as it's based off the game. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean wasn't a tie-in to the film. The film was based on it. It only became that after the film was successful later on.
True.
I also figured all three will probably, if they're based on the board game, would probably maybe have a version of the board game get released with a photo of the show on it.
Yeah.
I figured that was probably almost inevitable.
Yeah, that would make the most sense. I really don't know what you would tie into it. The CBS show. CBS shows are not necessarily known for their tie-ins.
I think Star Trek would like to have a word with you.
I mean,
And,
current CBS shows.
I think Person of Interest would like to have a word with you.
Why? What do they have tied in?
They are Person of Interest comics.
There are?
Mhm.
I was unaware.
But fair enough. You just to quote Spin City, fair enough, Jim. You get the bagel.
Ha.
I don't know. That's like a completely douchey thing to say, but
I'm gonna try
fuck
something.
it, I'm allowed. I'm a host.
I have sound.
For now, until you swap accounts later.
Well, I think it's the browser I'm using because when I'm on the Expand, I use Explorer.
Nice.
Why?
Yeah,
Because
we hear the Expand not condone using Explorer. No.
I do that because the other browser I use by my primary is Chrome, and that by default logs into my account.
And fair enough. And I will say, for tie-ins, take us away, Pew. Pew pew.
I would think for a tie-in, there'd be pretty much like the Talking Dead, kind of like a thing like that, where there'd be like, for the characters, they'd be totally, kind of like how they have the whole Twilight, Team Jacob, Team this, because, like I said, all these people don't really want to be, like, agree and like each other, so they might not want to make the same choices as everybody else, so I think they might have, like, alliances, and it's kind of like, you know, like that weird reality show thing, except nothing comes of it, where this might actually, like, you know, like, if I see him, I'll make sure to, like, push him down the chute if we get a chute, or, you know, kind of things like that, and try to work out, like, maybe we can not save these people, but these people we could save, you know, kind of things like that. So, just a whole, like, alliance set up, and pretty much imagining, like, merchandising, like, you know, team this, team that, like, blogging again, and the whole talking half-hour show afterwards. You know, maybe have some fans and stuff of the show, like, talk about who they think they would like to see, which people they would like possibly to hook up. Not that they're going to, but people always talk about hooking up in shows.
Shipping.
Things like that. Yeah, you know, like, exactly. And who is, like, you know, your favorite, or who would you, like, not like to save, who would you like to save?
Fair
Things
enough.
like that.
Fair enough. And same question to Marcus.
Well, given who my demographic is, the tie-ins for this would fall into you name it, it's gonna have it. Obviously, I would say the 9th expansion for the existing game would be the obvious TV expansion. I see video game of both for the TV show and maybe even a video game version of the board game. I see this getting a Lego license going to Lego. I see, you know, obvious merchandising of T-shirts and whatnot. I see action figures and toys. I could even potentially see a movie spinning off of this. Like, the possibilities are endless with tie-ins. And with that demographic, you know, of the TV 14 audience, and of course the obvious fans of Lovecraft and of the game, you could pretty much do anything you want with it, and if the show's a hit, you're going to make money off it.
And fair enough.
Pop vinyls! I could see pop vinyls of the characters and the monsters and stuff.
Which I will say fair enough. And I will say, for this one, I'm going to give it to Marcus.
Woo!
Yay!
Only because, and I don't mean any offense by this, Pew. I couldn't give you any points.
That's okay.
Because when you're saying like the Walking Dead one where it has the Talking Dead, or the Game of Thrones games cast and stuff, those are adult shows, and you mentioned your audience was kids. I know for a fact kids hate that shit. I've tried to get kids to watch like convention panels and stuff like that of people they like, and they're like, no, we don't like this, we just want to see the show.
Okay.
I'm surprised you didn't go with the obvious one for this one, given how your show is. I'm surprised you didn't say the Chutes and Ladders TV show app, so it becomes an interactive show.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I was thinking that for hers, or for like Jim's and hers as well. I was also thinking, obviously, and it works for yours, but I was thinking like you could everything always has tie-in comics nowadays. I'm surprised no one said that.
Too. Yeah, that's true. Comics novelizations.
Yeah. But for the next category, I will say, take us away first, Marcus, and the category is advertisements / cross promotion.
Okay. Let's see. Cross promotion, advertising. Well, obviously we would do the standard stuff of the trailers. With this one, I would probably. This would probably inevitably be announced at something like a Comic-Con or something. I feel like with this property, that the internet might be a good way to go for advertising with this one, like with the YouTube ads and whatnot.
You're right, 'cause that is what everyone loves, is YouTube ads. No one uses ad blocks. I'm kidding with that. I'm partly kidding with that, but yeah, I hate YouTube adverts, even for stuff I'm interested in. Like, I was interested in GTA 5. When they kept advertising it before every video, I was almost annoyed to the point where I'm like, no, I'm going to have to use an ad block because you're making me hate the game.
True. But I mean, like, maybe creating a YouTube channel for it and putting the trailer up there to get that advertising distribution.
Can you mute Pew? Again, it's a really loud noise, so we're cutting Marcus off.
Sorry.
In terms of cross promotion, I'm trying to figure out what a good cross promotion would be. I guess it depends on the network that it's on, because I could see this cross promoting with some of the existing shows. Like, for instance, given the kind of show this would be, if it's on NBC, I could see it cross promoting with something like The Blacklist or something like that. Or if it ends up, being on like fucking CW or something, I could see like, I don't know, Arrow showing up or something. You have many cross promotion opportunities. I know, but it's still the network. But you know what I mean. You have cross promotion opportunities based on the network. Tomorrow. My God, does she not listen?
I don't know. I think Pew's unmuted. There we go.
But
my neighbor's having some crazy crisis.
But yeah, cross promotion with something as specific as this, cross promotion would be tough. But the comics would be a great way to cross promote if they decide to make a comic of it. But in terms of just straight up advertising, I think conventions and internet are probably going to be the best way, and just find shows on the network that has picked you up, that has an audience that fits your audience, and promote through that. I think would be one of the best ways to do it.
Nice. And there was a really, and like I said, nice, and there was a really obvious one for that, but I'm going to leave it for a second, and I will go over to, since Pew's having crisis or whatever, I will go over to James.
Okay. So I feel like advertisements, this is the kind of thing where you could easily put this, like TV commercials could easily have a feel of, something about, like you've played the game, you think you know the game, but you like you played the game, you think you know the game, but you don't know the game. It'll be like meet the pieces, and then it shows you all the characters. And be like, Flash the community chest, they kind of show us Monopoly, kind of do that sort of thing. I think there'd be great magazine advertisements where it's like one of the playing pieces with the actor representing that piece leaning against it, like a giant version of it, and they're leaning against it and shit, like a Monopoly. And with like a little quote or a catch line on it or something could be cool.
Nice. I will say,
Yeah.
I was giggling when you said that then, not because it was bad, because it makes sense when a lot of stuff does do that. Were you thinking the same thing I was, Marcus?
What's
I
that?
think that every time now. You think you know GT? You don't know GT. Come on, man, fucking rap music. 'Cause that
Oh
advert
my
just annoyed
God.
me. That
Oh
advert
my
annoyed
God.
me.
If they do that, and whoever the Mr. Moneybags, whatever his name is, if they do that, and then he comes out and like all blinged up and starting to rap, that would just make me lose my shit.
Yeah, like I said, that just it's a slight thing, and I realise I interrupted you, Jim, but I think that, like I said, whenever anyone says you think you know blank, you don't know blank. I'm always thinking of the GT advert because it was, you think you know GT, and then they used grain footage to show the original Japanese or footage, and then they go, you don't know GT, and it's the same footage, just cleaned up and looking prettier, with a generic rap song over it of Step into the Grantor, Dragon Ball GT, and it's like, no, I want Dan, I want the Dan back, god damn it. But continue, Jim, I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, you do the TV commercials, the magazine advertisements would be really easy to work out. And it works commercials into YouTube advertisements, things like that. You can easily do that. I feel like you can easily advertise this show at things like Monopoly tournaments, the Monopoly World Tournament, things like that. Maybe tie in a promotion to that, like a sweepstakes, where you could have like and in the sweepstakes win a chance to go watch the Monopoly World Championships with some cast members from the show or something like that. Have dinner with them and go watch the tournament or something like that, or get to play a pro, whatever. Maybe learn the secrets of the game. That could be another part. That could be another thing you could do with the advertisements. Like you could have a little like you could have like an advertisement that's like part of like almost, I don't know what you call it, but so like bumpers for the show where like it mentions a little tip about Monopoly or something like that, or about the game. It's a little reference to something in the game itself. That could be like, I think at the end of every episode you tie that in or something like that. Here's a tip for Monopoly or whatever. You could tie. Let's see. I think you could. I mean, I would say like you could release like little like like little collectibles of the playing pieces with the characters or something, but I don't know how well that would sell. Something like that. But what was it advertising? What was the other half of the category?
It was advertising and cross promotion, which doesn't necessarily mean spinning off or like actually characters showing up on other shows as such. It could be anything like showing up on what do you call it, like the talk shows and stuff like that.
Right. Well, that happens almost every show. The actors show up and talk about stuff. I mean, that's kind of inevitable. But like the other things you can do, again, because you have the game tie-in, because everybody knows Monopoly, you have that name recognition off the bat. So you could have you could have people go on Jimmy Fallon and have some guest members playing like a short, like a timed game of Monopoly with Jimmy Fallon or something like that, or something based on it or something. Dressed as a pieces or on a big board or whatever. You could do fun stuff like that as well to help advertise it and put that out there as well. And if you want to really advertise it, you can even tie in to get people to watch. You can tie in like a phone app, which I think I mentioned in the last category, but you could tie in where the people can you get them to watch it because they can like maybe like basically the actions of the players in the show represent actions of pieces on a board, and so if you can based on what pieces do what, if you pick the right pieces doing what, then they move forward on the board or whatever. It's like you're playing sort of a game of Monopoly along with the show, but modified. That could be kind of a cool thing. Stuff like that. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else you can have. Maybe like on the you could advertise on the internet. Go to the website and have like an outsmart Mr. Monopoly thing. Like it could be like even like a challenge. Like, okay, you have these properties and this is the state of the board you're playing against these people. With these properties, what do you do in this situation? And whoever goes, you see who can get based on proper Monopoly strategy, what the right answer is and stuff like that too. That could be fun. Have like the guy playing Mr. Monopoly, like have Alan and Dale there just like being smarmy and chastising people if they get it wrong, and if they get it right, just kind of looking disgusted and just leaving like damn it, you beat me. It'd be fun.
Oh, fair enough. And same question to Pew.
I was thinking more adverts in like magazines and stuff. Like they always have those teen magazines where they have all the cast members and stuff, and they have like clothing lines, stuff like that. They have bracelets, all the accessories, everything, and maybe possibly even like music or like theme show. Yeah, but this is a form of advertising. Like, hey, watch the show because you're going to do this. Or just reminding you, this show's relevant. This show's now. You want to do this. Pretty much just getting it everywhere to remind you, like, hey, this exists and it's on, like, this night. Because you have, like, a shirt, like, someone says, oh, what's that? Oh, it's the show that everybody's watching, Things like that. Just to pretty much get everybody to know exposure everywhere. So everybody knows that it's watching and it's like a thing. Everyone watches. It's going to be like American Idol.
Nice.
Just like on the surface level, like all exposure.
And I will say, after that round, the winner of that round was James.
Yay!
Boom. But what does that mean? That means that there's a tie, Mole.
Actually, like I said, and I've said that in the past, there will not be a tie because I go through and I actually give people scores out of 10 for each round.
Mm.
And then I figure out based on that. Okay, one difference. Two there, so that's one. That was a tie. And then, and the winner is Marcus.
Yay!
Mainly because I was trying to add up, like, okay, what's the difference? And they were pretty close until that round where you got 0. And he got 8. So it's like, damn it. And like I mentioned, I always include a bonus category to see if and I would have given points if anyone had hit that, but no one did. I gave a bonus category for someone creating a brand new game show. That was game show. Because I was like, so many games lend themselves to like Trivial Pursuit and other stuff that it'd be really easy to do that. I'm like, someone might make a game show, but fair enough, no one hit that, which means Marcus is the winner for this one.
Yay!
Also, I want to dock 1 or 2 little of the points. I want to dock them, but I won't for Jim and Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Cross promotion. I even tried to lead you both down the path of, you can get them to guest appear on stuff like talk shows. Because I figured they were all going to be on talk shows. None of you mentioned guest host of Monday Night Raw.
True. Monday Night Raw is not a talk show.
Yes, but I said that because the talk shows will make you think, they don't have to just cross over. It's not like it's going to be a crossover episode of a TV show. It could be they're hosting something or chatting on something.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, but as Jim was talking, I was thinking, I could have Renee Young interview him.
Yeah. But that was pretty good.
Renee Young.
And I will say next month will be my last one hosting for a couple of months because I will be competing, and the next category next month it will feature Marcus, Hugh, Jim, and Rick the Hammer. Because next month's category, and it ties in beautifully because next month is E3, X-Pound, the video game.
Nice.
There's no way that won't be fun.
What are the rules?
There wouldn't be one. Because it's X-Pound, the video game. Yeah, it's a video game, and it has to be about the X-Pound, which is us, and stuff like that, or what we do.
It cannot be a text-based adventure.
But, like I said, there is no real limitations with that, because I didn't see the point. Like, I couldn't make a rule of, don't base it on an existing thing, because there is no existing X-Pound video game. I couldn't make, don't use comics or Power Rangers or anything like that, which are our overarching ones, unless specifically said, because we actually have those in our shows anyway. So, literally, the only limitation there, Jim, is your mind.
Oh, he's screwed.
And next month I will also announce who will be taking over for July, because someone will take over and get to come up with a category. So stay tuned for that. See ya.
Peace.